Hey guys, what is going on? For today's video, I'm going to give you 5 tips that'll help you on your journey to the Diamond Land. Hi guys, I'm Zazul, and I've been mid-diamond for about 2 seasons now. Recently, I have been really focusing on making as little mistakes as possible and making the climb back this season by of course playing our favorite little bug, KhaZix. Before we get into these 5 tips, I do stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the link to that will be in the description below. Alright, let's get into it. These mental and in-game tips can be used for everyone, so please try to take away what you can from it. Alright, starting with tip number 1, autopiloting. This is very important, and to my understanding, people are told this all the time, but never really put it into practice just because they want to keep playing, and that's called autopiloting. You need to be very aware that even though playing ranked just to play ranked can be rewarding in terms of getting your LP up as much as you possibly can, it can also be devastating how much time you end up wasting if your goal is to climb. My rule of thumb is that if you want to climb, you should take a break after 2 losses in a row. This will allow you to have a mental reset as well as the motivation you need to put maximum energy into winning your next match. Speaking of having energy, have you ever ran into one person who has too much energy and spams on the way pings and blue pings? Well, this flows right into tip number 2. Number 2, pings. Even though it may be annoying, they're actually giving your team a ton of information, especially for the jungler. As a jungler myself, it's almost letting me know how often they're looking for a fight so we can take advantage of their pressure. Especially in a case where they don't need my help, I can always just sit in a bush somewhere and wait for the counter gank. Nowadays, most junglers, including myself, go through a little jungle PTSD where every time someone does this, it's like you're being flamed for not being there. If your team makes use of these frequent pings and it's not tilting anyone, I highly recommend you doing this as well. Nothing else tells your team what your intentions are like a barrage of on-the-way pings to Dragon or Baron. Tip number 3, epic monsters or objectives. Believe it or not, solo queue isn't just about stomping your enemies so hard that they want to FF at 15. As a jungler who plays KhaZix or Nunu, I'm always looking to take dragons and heralds as soon as they spawn. You need to make sure that your team is aware that you're going to be there and prep them for the objective. This is coming from a jungler's perspective, but even if you're mid, support, or ADC, you can always use your trinket or control wards. That some of you never buy! If you want that dragon, you really need to let your team know, hey, I want this dragon, go go go, by sending an insane amount of on-the-way pings. Unfortunately, this won't work for you every single time, as you will still have that one ADC that stays for that last minion wave and ignores dragon. Having soul point pressure is very valuable to your team, as this puts the enemy team in a tough situation. If you're able to get every drag as a spawn and the enemy team has none, the 4th dragon should be spawning around 20 minutes, which is also when Baron spawns. Now, the enemy team has 2 options. They can either fight to prevent you from having soul, or they go Baron and let you have soul. Regardless of what happens, your team ends up on top with getting Baron or Dragon Soul, and sometimes both. To top it all off with some personal experience of winning games via objectives, I recently got hard out jungled by an Elise as KhaZix. There was just no way I could match her in any situation, so I decided to farm and wait it out. As they had 3 dragons, they went Baron at 20 minutes. I had 2 choices. 1, try to die for the dragon to prevent soul, or 2, ward Baron and try to steal that. But my Tryndamere was bot with Herald. Tryndamere now has Baron and Herald to our advantage. Keep in mind, our team morale was shattered. Everyone was flaming each other, and it was not a good situation. Next up was Dragon Soul. Since I didn't have a Baron buff, I decided to go for the steal on that as well, and was successful. The enemy team FF'd and we won the game. I still don't feel like I deserve the win after that, but that's just to show that objective control really matters. Most of us don't have this tip, but if you want to climb, I highly recommend you learn this skill. Tip number 4 is going to be patience. Being patient can be the most rewarding skill of the game. Playing for power spikes, waiting for your enemy to miss position, giving up a tower, and so on can all actually be benefits for your team. A perfect example of playing for power spikes is the legendary late game mid laner, Kassadin. I'm sure we have all had a game where once the enemy or ally Kassadin hits level 16, he carries a team on his back up the mountain straight to your or their nexus. Kassadin's scaling is incredible, and all you need to do is have patience to get there. Have you ever heard of Yasuo's 0 and 10 power spike? There's a reason why it exists. Yasuo can do a ton of damage with just 3 items and excels in team fights. He may be 0-10 in lane, but with some help, you're going to wonder how he got this 20 kills in the post game. Now, playing a champion like KhaZix, you're not always able to 1v9 montage bug mode on them with E-Evolve. Sometimes you have to wait and be patient with the enemy, waiting in bushes for the perfect opportunity to strike on that lonely carry with isolation. Have you ever seen that one person who tries to defend a tower that has 20 HP against 4 enemies that are about to dive at them? Of course they're going to die. The best play in this situation would be to fall back and wait for your team to catch up with you. The most the enemy gets out of taking a tower is some room on the map and 50 gold each. And as every jungler should know, and every other role should know, tip number 5 is going to be jungle tracking. I cannot express how important this is no matter what role you play. Getting vision inside the enemy jungle is one way to really make this game a 4v5. Imagine if you could see the enemy jungle on the map at all times. Would you still die to ganks? More than likely not. Getting wards down on enemy camps is the best way to see where they're going and what their options are. For example, at the start of most games, teams will ward the enemy buff. If the jungler starts bot side, you know that they can either path to top side or gank bot or mid lane. If you see them on the map during their gank, then you know that their camps are still up in their topside jungle and vice versa. If they start topside and show for a gank top or mid, you know their bot side is up. If you're able to pay attention to this, you will know when the enemy jungler is going to be near you. And that's going to be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Best of luck on the Rift.